From KC24, your local election headquarters, with your host, Evan Onstadt. This is Sunday Morning Matters.
Hey there, good morning, and thank you so much for starting off your Sunday with us. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving without too many political arguments at the dinner table. And this week I actually wanted to do something special for the holiday, so I decided to bring in a family for our political panel, the Appleton family. And we're going to have that in just a bit. But we have to start this week with a race that is not over, despite pretty much everyone declaring it done on election night. When Congressman David Valadao spoke to us that night, he declared victory. We here at KC24, we pretty much assumed he was correct in that, and so did major news organizations like the Associated Press. But the update Wednesday from Fresno County brought Cox within less than 500 votes of Valadao, and the bulk of the thousands of ballots remaining in counties are remaining now in counties that favor the Democrats. So if the most popular question has been, will Cox actually pull this off? Then the second most popular question is, why does this whole vote count take so long? Brandy Orth is the person to ask, the Fresno County Clerk, and is kind enough to join us here on her holiday weekend. Thanks so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
We're speaking on Wednesday, right after you just released those latest numbers. And you told me you will be working through the holiday as well.
Right. We will be having staff have Thanksgiving with their families, but we'll be back at it on Saturday.
Okay.
We've been working 6 days a week, 11 or 12-hour days, because the volume has been incredible.
Turnout was big.
Yes, we're already hit over 50%, and there's still more to come.
Which is big for a midterm election, as we'd always say. Right. How many times have you had to answer the question, why is this taking so long, though?
Well, it's a fair question, and it's all in the details, and it's all in the rules and regulations about how you conduct elections. In elections, obviously, accuracy is paramount, and speed is second. And so there are a lot of processes and requirements that we have to go through, and it takes time.
You're not just taking the ballots then and running them through a counting machine.
No. So basically, after election night, we have two groupings of ballots, and they are the vote by mails that have been returned at the polls or by the mail. We had 76,000 Wednesday morning. And then we have 24,000 provisionals, and those require individual research with our computer system to make sure they're registered voters and some other issues too. So it's just a long process. And when you do the vote by mail ballots, you return them in the approved envelope and you sign your name. Well, to confirm that the voter actually returned it, we confirm each and every signature to the signature on their voter registration card. And they need to compare well in order for the ballot to move on and be opened. So that process takes some time. We have human eyes on it, and if we determine in a small amount of cases that the signatures are mismatched, we have to send them a letter saying you have time to cure your signature.
To cure it?
Yes, meaning sign the form, and when you return it to us, we'll compare that to the envelope. If it's one and the same, your ballot will be counted.
I think a lot of people don't even realize that their signature is being looked at so closely when they're doing this. We're in a hurry, right?
Exactly.
We just fill it in, we sign it, and I don't even know how they compare my signature from years ago to now. So you run into this sometimes.
Right, and so the other thing is, now with registering or changing your address with the DMV, you sign on this little pad. And sometimes that's not really indicative of your handwriting when you actually take your time and sign on a piece of paper.
To your knowledge, are they telling people when they're doing this at the DMV, sign it the way that you normally sign your name, because that will be checked?
Well, let's say I was a customer of the DMV in July, and that was not told to me.
Something to look into for sure. So how big is your staff that you have working on this thing?
So we're a very small county department, and we have 30 permanent staff, but we hire hundreds of what the county calls extra help people that will stay with us for about 60 days and work extremely long hours.
You have a deadline.
Yes.
There is a deadline, a month pretty much after the election, right?
Correct, 30 days, which falls on December 6th.
All right, so that is the final deadline. When it comes to Congressional District 21, because that's the close race.
It is.
Valadao, Cox. Have you ever seen a race like this, by the way, in your time here?
Not on a federal level like that, but we've had local races that are close.
So when you are tabulating these votes, because they're coming into the county.
Right.
21 is not throughout the entire Fresno County.
Correct.
There's a bunch of different districts in there.
Correct.
Do you know when you're counting these ballots Which ones are from which district?
No, because when we have 100,000 ballots, we're trying to get them through the system accurately and push out results. And so definitely we don't want to take the time to separate them and slow down the process. So the vote by mails, the 76,000, they ran right through and we took care of them. On the provisionals, it just so happens that the precinct numbers in that 21st district is on the lower side. They're precincts like 113 to 200 something. And so those we happen to already have processed, and for the majority of them were in the numbers today.
Okay, so because it was a pretty big release today.
Yes.
Can you tell me how many ballots are left in Congressional District 21?
No, I can't.
Do you not know that information,
No,
or you just can't say it?
Well, a couple things happen with provisionals in that usually the provisionals are because a voter didn't go to the polling place they were assigned.
Okay.
And when that happens, then the votes that they are eligible to vote on, like the federal or the state races, are duplicated onto the ballot they should have voted on. And that's a time-consuming thing, and until you work each of those individual envelopes and find out what precinct they should have been in, you really don't know. And so the process is just working its way through, and as we get them through all those, then we put them into the counting room.
Next update coming on Monday.
No.
Wednesday.
Yes.
Okay.
Because with the holiday, we won't have that much of a volume.
Sure.
So we hope to have all of our remaining ballots. Okay. Cross your fingers for Wednesday.
All right, and then it's the deadline before you know it. So
well, see, then we go into the manual audit process. There's more work. And so by law, we're mandated to pull every precinct, 419 of them, together, and we do the accounting on each and every one of them, meaning I sent out 500 ballots. How many came back unused? How many came back voted? And does the math all match? And we have to do that in order to certify. Plus, we have to do a 1% hand count on 1% of the precincts involved in the election. And that's a longer, slower process where it's manual tabulation to confirm that the voting machine is working accurately.
One last little quick question. Would you change anything in the California system?
Oh, probably a lot of things.
Then just give me a couple of things that you think could be better, that would make it better for the voter, for all of us.
Well, you know, I think that the laws in California are robust, and sometimes laws are made without input of election officials or the administration aspect of it. And so there are constantly new burdens putting on for precinct officers and elections officials, and it makes it difficult and time-consuming to get it done. And so we just continue to work with the legislature and our association to try to give our input as much as possible.
That's a follow-up that we're going to have to get into. Brandy Orr, thank you for your hard work in this. We appreciate your dedication, and thanks for coming on in this holiday weekend and talking about it.
Have a good Turkey Day.
Thank you. All right.